still recording. Yeah.
We'll start again.
Cool.
Okay, we're here with Nelson Mandela. And lads, if you could introduce yourselves.
I'm Jack, I play drums.
I'm Ollie, I play guitar.
I'm Phil, and I play bass.
Do you guys listen to Melvins?
Yeah,
definitely.
I used to listen to the Melvins a lot when I was younger. When I first heard Honey Bucket, I think it was, a long time ago. It was like, this is the heaviest, weirdest music. I mean, right down to the lyrics, which don't even make any proper sense. They're in no particular language whatsoever. It kind of blew me away. It was just like a completely different approach to, heavy, punky music. It seemed like it was almost there to alienate the audience. So yeah, I love the Melvins.
Yeah. Definitely into music that's heavy and kind of weird, and puts people in different places, puts people in places where they don't normally find themselves.
Yeah. I think it's important, for what your project's doing. I mean, it puts live bands are there to really draw you in. I mean, today you go on MySpace, you go on Spotify, you go on the radio, you're getting fed kind of a very quick jump from song to song, and you're not really inspired to focus and listen in. And when the environment is live, you kind of have a chance to kind of play around with your audience, challenge them. Yeah, and that fits our music perfectly. So we're there to kind of give people a chance to actually stop and think, not only listen and tap their foot. We want people to really delve into the song and give it a chance. So yeah.
And how did you guys meet each other?
Well, me and Ollie, we were both in the same halls, and we met on the first day. I was wearing a Deftones.
Same halls, I explain that to people, to common people.
Halls of residence at university. So we met at halls of residence at the University of Reading. And I purposely wore a Deftones t-shirt to see if someone on a similar wavelength would meet me.
I was sadly wearing a Rage Against the Machine t-shirt as well, so it seems like we were both on a similar wavelength. But I made the first approach. I sort of did the first chat-up line, if you like.
Yeah. And from there, it's been a love affair that's never ended. So
just gone down weird routes. But yeah, so it was just through halls of residence, and we both found out we were long-term instrumentalists from day one, and we said, pretty much one of the reasons I've come to uni is to play in a band and do something different, and so it was just kind of luck.
Yeah. And then we both grew up being we both played instruments for a similar amount of time. We've both been in bands, done similar things, kind of really wanted to do something that was different. That's something that not only challenged other people but really challenged ourselves. And when we play, it's always pushing ourselves to the limit. And it was just us two. We had some practices. Then we moved into our own house, started practicing a lot more. And Phil kind of saw me. Phil told me how you saw me.
Yeah, me and Jack used to play in bands back in Bedford. And during the warm-up, he played the Reuben drum track. And then on one drunken night out, I went up to him and went, "Oh, you're from Bedford, you like Reuben?" And then we got chatting, and then he said, "Oh, I'm in a band, we need a bassist." And I was like, "Oh, I play bass." And then that's the story so far.
Yeah.
Now we're here.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So we started practicing together.
About February of this year.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been a long time, and on top of that, it takes us a long time to really put songs together. It's not something you can just sort of jam out in 3 hours. It needs kind of weeks of prepping and weeks of ironing out, and but it's a fulfilling process once it gets done, and you kind of really feel. You sort of feel friends with the songs at the end of it. We're not rushing through stuff, and it's kind of nice to do it that way because you feel more involved. So yeah.
I agree. Yeah. We played a lot of gigs in Reading, and there are some bands that are kind of doing similar things to us, but sometimes we do feel like there isn't that many bands who are doing the same thing as us. Like we find,
I think a lot of bands kind of look at what we're doing, particularly without a vocalist, and find it difficult to embrace. There are bills that we've been on, particularly out of Reading, where if you look at the lineup, we just seem completely out of place.
Yeah.
And I mean, even in Reading, we've had that experience. So I think really in terms of going to London and playing gigs with people like that, we're trying to just bide our time. Really, we want it to be right. We don't want to just go there for the sake of going.
How are you going to generate a sort of I've been on you.
I think it's music first. Like as I was saying earlier,
it's live music first, not music first. It must be live music first. You're talking about.
I get what you're saying.
Because you're not spreading yourselves over the internet.
No. I agree with you, but I think we're kind of trying to give ourselves a bit of a foundation in the songs that we've got. And as I was saying earlier, we take a hell of a long time to write anything, and it could just be a happenstance of being at uni. That it takes such a long time, and I think we want to wait. We want to bide our time until we have really,
Do you think that? Do you think that bands like you have a place now in popular culture? Because you're talking about like biding your time and kind of waiting for a moment to pounce. But do you actually think that the people alive now actually give a fuck?
They might do when we pounce, when we choose to pounce. Yeah. Like maybe not now whilst we're doing.
I mean, the thing is, you're right. A lot of people don't want to or don't have the time to listen to music that is quite different. That really challenges them.
Relaxing. Contemplating and discussing.
Are you from Spain?
Spain, no, why?
I don't know. You're not a nice pair of chinos.
Chinos? What's
wrong with
Machinos? Machinos! What is wrong
mate. We've got a guy that's got a tiny penis. He's got a pair of chinos on, and he's giving us some grief. He's going to get his penis out. Right, we're recording this on Live Music FM. There's a weird Italian kid with a stripy blue jumper that looks. He's got a fit friend. I'll give him that.
Alright, should we go?
I'm not talking about the guy. And they're going to leave. They're going to leave.
He's a dick.
They're going to leave. What are you going to say?
They're gaping.
He's a gaping. Alright, well, we've done very well, Tom.
Gaping pussy. Like big monster vagina.
Thank you for ruining our interview.
Triple
please.
fisting.
Have a nice evening.
Remember that, triple fisting.
Cheers.
And
mate.
that's why Michelangelo. Actually, no, that's why Brunelleschi made the Duomo. Anyway, we're moving.
I think he answered our question for us, to be honest.
That's why 3 bands come out already.
But I think we want to spend as much time really perfecting what we have, because if we're doing something that's different, if we're doing something that is unusual, the only way that people can really accept it or listen to it or enjoy it is that if we get it right and if it's good. And the live music is obviously the most important part of that, because nowadays the only way to keep going as a band is not necessarily having hit singles or stuff. It's about having a live following and being good and people respecting you because of that.
I mean, look at Pulled Apart by Horses. I mean, they were a completely unknown band. Their first gig generated such a sort of underground following. People didn't even know who they were going to see, and to their first gig there was about 500 people who had never even heard the band before. And after that they've become one of the most successful live bands on the circuit, and they're only just breaking it into radio, and obviously they have a different approach, but the thing is, it's really very simple. I
was just pointing here that I think you're a lot better than Pulled Apart by Horses.
Very nice.
It's very kind of you. But I mean the point really is that it's not about biding our time for any pretentious arty reason. It's basically we want to get a good set of like 15 songs right and done properly, and so we know that they're going to be perceived in the right way as we have them in our heads before we then go out and really give it all we've got. I mean, it's going to take time before we reach that point. And also, I've got to be honest, it's partially just living in Reading. I mean, there aren't that many gigs on the circuit to jump on.
And the thing is, there are promoters in Reading who try really hard, and some really nice people who try to put gigs on, but for some reason there just isn't. A lot of the time there just isn't an audience for it. People here for some reason aren't interested. They're interested in other things like clubbing, obviously, like dubstep, drum and bass, like those things are really can be really big in Reading. A lot of people are into that, and maybe they're just not really into going to live gigs. Also, it's because of the size of Reading and where it is, right in between London and Oxford. It's not it's not a place where a lot of touring bands go. There's not really that many venues that can support that, like big bands, and you need bigger bands to have smaller bands. You know, you need those big venues, but other smaller venues to compete with.
But trust me, as soon as we break outside of Reading, and as soon as we kind of explore other areas, it's going to be a lot more active process. At the moment, we're kind of passively taking gigs as they come, and we're playing what we've got, but we know that we've not reached kind of the zenith of what we've got to offer. You know, it's going to take a while before we do, and we're kind of happy with that, because at the end of the day, you know, it's kind of an indulgent process writing music, and you know, you've got to be happy with what you've got before you can go and give it to other people.
Well, we want to make our sort of perfect package, because if we don't think it's perfect, especially our sort of music, then no one else is going to get it.
Yeah.
If we don't think it's absolutely spot on, then it's lost.
Also, we've done some recordings. We've got one recording on our MySpace and on SoundCloud, but we recorded another song at the start of September, and that hasn't been finished yet. And we want to, when that's ready, we want to think about putting that out on vinyl, getting some cool artwork.
I heard you talking earlier on about, you know, saying you might get a vocalist. Mm-hmm. That kind of completely changes the music that you make.
The thing is, we've been a band for, I don't know how long.
2 years. 2
years, and it's not really been our plan to not have a vocalist.
It's been there since the beginning.
Yeah, and a lot of.
So what you want a vocalist?
Our music is written. Some of it.
What sort of vocalist are you going to get then?
We don't know. That's why we haven't got one
yet.
That's
the thing.
Screamo vocalist? We're going to get Bono?
I think we need to take some risks and actually bring some people in and see what they have to offer, because you know, there's a good chance that we're going to be really surprised by what somebody does, and that's going to change our view of what we want. Because when I listen to our music in our head, I maybe hum a melody along, I don't think of a particular style. I mean, there are archetypes here and there.
What are the archetypes?
You know, like Jamie Lennon from Reuben. I can't think.
Tool.
Maynard James Keenan from Tool.
I saw Deftones last night. Chino Moreno.
I don't think isn't your music more?
You're going to say completely screamer?
No, I'm going to say. I've forgotten Dave Navarro's first.
Oh right, what, Jane's Addiction?
Yeah.
Really?
What? Isn't that the vocalist you're looking for?
The thing is, how many people go into bands saying that I want this kind of person in my band? You know, you can't. That's not how musicians meet each other, and that's how bands start. You're
looking for a vocalist.
We're looking for a vocalist, but we don't know what. There's no expectation. There's no kind of like requirements. You have to sound like this.
The other thing
that's not how it works.
There's kind of a two-sided coin to our music anyway. I mean, a lot of the stuff we played tonight was geared towards an instrumental environment.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, those songs can be presented and understood without a vocalist. I mean, we like to think that they've got enough going on that will keep people engaged. There's a lot of stuff that we have.
That we've already
waiting to be written, and that we have written, that we just don't feel
is worth
playing, because you know
people won't get it because some songs need vocals more than others, and
so in a way it's like we've progressed before we've even put a first album out there. In a weird way, we've got a set of songs that sound like a first album.
Have you released anything?
No. I mean, apart from singles online. But the point I'm trying to make is we kind of have this weird dichotomy where we have simple, rock, post-hardcore songs which are built for a vocal line. I mean, they're designed specifically to have someone come and fill it with their voice. And then there's other songs where, frankly, I've just got bored, and you know, I've wanted to do a little bit more with stuff, and I haven't really considered vocals in the equation. You know, I obviously want vocals to be put over eventually, but it's just kind of like I don't necessarily feel like I have to write a huge set of progressive music, 8-minute long songs, and then ignore any sort of demographic, and completely alienate people. It's kind of, we've got a mix of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think when we do have a vocalist, it will focus it more in. We'll be able to see a direction of what we can and can't approach effectively. I mean, it will limit us, and limit is a good thing when it comes to music.
All the gigs we played, we started playing any song that we had finished writing and we'd done together, and we figured out that some of the songs that we were playing, they need vocals, you know, they need vocals for people to get it. And then we have other songs which don't necessarily need vocals as much. We can play those. We don't want to. We could wait 3 years to have a vocalist, but what would be the point of like waiting for a vocalist and not playing any gigs? You know, what would be, that doesn't benefit us. That doesn't benefit anyone who might like our music without vocals.
Yeah.
You know,
It works as it is. Like,
yeah. I mean, people still come to our gigs. I think people like us, even though we don't have a vocalist. But a lot of them, they probably know that it's not that we don't want a vocalist, we just haven't found one.
And that's where the live thing comes in. I mean, like, regardless of all this kind of planning and like putting our principle behind it, we do really love
playing live.
I mean, there's nothing like it. And you know, whether we have a vocalist or not, we want to go and rock out somewhere. I mean, I just think the music is worth it. In some way, to kind of keep it alive, because you know you can write a lot of songs in your little conclave and you can get very bored and irritated by them, but if you take them and then go and present them to another audience, they take a new life form, you know what I mean? And so it's kind of just keeping us fresh. It's, you know, seeing what other people's reactions are, it's seeing the songs in a different context. It just, I don't know.
We just love playing live. It's not worth waiting for a vocalist and just stopping. Like,
fuck, who gives a shit about a vocalist?
Exactly.
Quite frankly,
and this is the thing. We talk to so many people at gigs or friends or people we've met, and we have the same conversation with them about
50-50 split.
Some
like
people say,
you know,
you guys really need to get a vocalist. And we're like, yeah, we want a vocalist, just haven't found one. And some people are like, don't get a vocalist. And we're kind of just seeing what happens.
We played,
you know?
like, a few gigs. There was one that was really alternative, and sort of we almost looked down our noses at because we didn't sort of have a vocalist.
Yeah, we were looked down at.
Yeah. Like, they sort of thought,
exactly,
who's they think they are, sort of coming in without a vocalist.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, there are some people that just aren't going to take to it. But really, like, we're not going to rush the process. Like, it's got to be right.
I've got to get back to fucking London either way.
Yeah.
We train every 10 minutes, so yeah.
Yeah, let's hope so. Anyway, it was fucking cool, you know. The music's fucking cool, boys. And I don't give a fuck if you get the Chuckle Brothers singing vocals for you.
That is a good idea.
I literally don't care.